Hi everyone, so as you can tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to be talking about overcoming my fear of flying. Now, a while ago I did make a video about travelling with anxiety, and I've managed to conquer a lot of my travel anxiety. The main thing that was left was flying. I haven't been able to fly for over 2 years. Every time it came to, booking a holiday to try it out, I just chickened out, I just couldn't manage it. And so although I have made a video on this before, I thought I would just dedicate one specifically for flying because it is something that I've managed to overcome very recently, so I thought that I would just give you the tips and tricks that I use to help myself get on a plane again. Very quickly, I do just briefly want to talk about where a fear of flying can stem from, i.e. where mine personally stemmed from. So everyone kind of has an anxiety library, which is made up of all the different things and all the different experiences that you've had associated with a certain thing. So for me, I have a lot of very negative memories about flying. To be honest, it's always resulted in me being physically ill, either from travel sickness or from just being so incredibly anxious or stressed out, and so my body has sort of conditioned itself to say that flying is bad. We don't want to go on a plane because it'll make us ill, and that has been the case for quite a while, and it's been reinforced by a lot of negative experiences. And so one of the first things that I did was get CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, and this basically aims to sort of reprogram the way that your mind thinks and the association it has with things. Now, I'm not sure specifically how much the actual therapy that I had, like how effective it was, just because I did it with the intention of getting on a plane. I think it was about October time that I had the CBT, and that was when I was going to get on the plane, and I still couldn't manage it. I had the therapy, I had a few sessions, and by the time it came to actually booking the holiday, I still didn't feel like I could manage it. So I'm not sure how effective the specific therapy sessions were, but I did use some of the tools that the therapist gave me. One of them, well actually all of them that he gave me were about visualisation, so if that isn't really your strong point, then you may struggle or you may want to practice first. So there was a desensitisation kind of visualisation practice, which I'm not really going to go into because it's quite like a sensitive tool, and I'm not trained in any way, shape or form. You're probably better off going to your own CBT practitioner and asking them, what kind of visualization techniques they use, because everyone uses different ones. But I do think that I did find this quite useful. And then the other technique I used was a false memory visualization technique, and that's fine to talk about. That was something that I'd already heard about anyway. And basically it's where you visualize, in this case, yourself at the airport, walking through the airport and feeling completely calm, and you really have to close your eyes and really focus and imagine yourself in the airport. And for a lot of people that will bring up a lot of feelings of anxiety, and when I first did it, I did instantly feel lots of anxiety, and that's a good thing because that means that you are really visualising it well, and you need to sit with that feeling until it starts to ebb away, and you need to imagine yourself being really confident and going through security and getting on the plane and you feel absolutely fine. Then you imagine yourself sitting on the plane, and you really have to imagine like the smells, the sounds, the noise. You sit there and you sit with the anxiety that you feel from that visualization, and you just let it ebb away again. And then you imagine yourself during the flight. And again, you're feeling confident, you're feeling fine, you have to sit with that anxiety until it ebbs away. Then you imagine yourself getting off the plane and you're feeling great, you're feeling fine, you're confident, you've made it, you haven't been ill or you haven't felt claustrophobic, had a panic attack, the plane hasn't crashed. It does depend on where your fear stems from, but no matter what, you just visualise yourself at the airport, getting on the plane, off the plane, and you're super confident as you're visualising it. You sit with the anxiety, let it drain away, and you do this a few times, as many times as possible really, and it's a way of tricking your brain basically, pretending that you've had these positive experiences to try and counterbalance the negative experiences. The next thing I did, which was probably a little bit drastic, I know that not everyone might have the opportunity to do this, but that is to take a practice flight. Now our aim was to go away, this is my parents and I, to go away in like for a winter holiday, and so we decided to just do an internal flight, i.e. within the UK, because they're very short, they're pretty cheap to be honest, and it just gives you a practice. So we actually took a flight up to Glasgow in Scotland. The flight time was about an hour, and so it was a lot more manageable than, say, you know, a 3-hour flight. I just had to tell myself, you make it up there. If for some reason I did, you know, have a really bad panic attack and didn't feel like I could do it, I knew that the flights were pretty cheap, so, you know, that worry was taken off my shoulders. And to be honest, although we did book a return flight, knowing that it was an internal flight, at the end of the day we could have got a train back home to where we live, and so that took a lot of pressure off as well. I basically just told myself that all you have to do is make it 1 hour on the plane to Glasgow, and then it doesn't matter. If you don't feel up to a flight home, we can work around that. And yeah, I found it really useful because I hadn't been on a plane for so long. It definitely sort of re-familiarised myself with how it all works, it gave me a chance to practice some more techniques, and overall I think this would be the thing that I would recommend the most. Try and find a cheap internal flight within your home country. Do it all in a day. Mine, we left in the morning, came back in the afternoon, did a little bit of shopping in Glasgow. It was super easy, and like I said, it just helped me to tackle the fear of flying in a much more manageable, shorter flight. Preparation for the flight is also very important, that way you're not worrying about anything. For me, my preparation does include some sick bags, just so I have that reassurance that, you know, if something bad does happen or something goes wrong, I'm covered in that respect. Also, eating well, keeping hydrated. I'd say have something plain but filling the night before. Make sure that you've had a plain breakfast in the morning, just so there is something in your stomach. Buy a bottle of water when you get through the other side of security at the airport. Make sure you stay really hydrated. Also for me, it did include creating a few different music playlists. I did download some relaxation music. I also took a load of my favourite songs and a load of the songs that I find the most relaxing, and I created lots of different playlists depending on how I felt, and I think that this is actually quite a good idea. So when I wanted calming down, I listened to my calming playlist. Then when I was starting to feel a little bit more confident, I started listening to my more upbeat songs, especially because I find something a little bit more upbeat, it does drown out your surroundings a lot more, and it makes it easier to practice other visualization techniques. Again, this is something that I found really useful. I have 2 different ones that I was taught by my therapist, not my CBT therapist, my other therapist. One is where if you're starting to feel sick, anxious, or you have some kind of physical manifestation from the stress and anxiety you're experiencing, you imagine yourself floating up out of your body. So you become completely detached from your feelings, because the feelings that you're feeling are your body's feelings, they're not your mind or your soul, whatever you believe in. I usually just think of it as like my mind. So I imagine sort of my mind or my being floating from my body, and I just become detached from the sick or anxious feeling that I am experiencing. The other technique I use is just to completely remove myself from the situation in my mind. I imagine I'm at a beach, I imagine I'm, I don't know, a rock star in a concert, I don't know, just I pretend that I am not myself, I'm not on the plane, I'm somewhere completely different. And if all else fails, you have your trusty backup, breathing. Basically, no matter how you're feeling, sick, dizzy, just anxious, taking in deep, regular breaths from your diaphragm will always make you feel better. I'm not saying that it'll make the anxiety go away completely, but you will be able to tell a marked difference, because as soon as you start to panic or feel anxious, you will start to hyperventilate, your breathing will become slightly sort of uneven and you're not taking in the oxygen that you need. So taking slow deep breaths through your nose, put your hand on your stomach so that you can feel your stomach expanding, because you do want to be taking breaths not from your chest, like from your stomach, deep, low, in through your nose. Maybe count to, I mean it depends on your lung capacity, but I count to 10 in and then to about 8 out, and you just continuously do this. You can try and practice some meditation techniques as well. I will be making a video in the future about sort of meditation techniques that I use, my experience with meditation, but I think that when you're feeling incredibly anxious, meditation, it requires a lot of focus, and I think when you're in a very anxious situation it's difficult to focus, but holding on to something, i.e. a bit of jewellery, anything, you know, a bit of fabric, and just rubbing it and focusing on the feel, the sensation, bringing yourself just into the moment, that can also be very useful as well. But like I said, I do find that a lot more difficult to do when I'm feeling very anxious. That's all I have for today. I hope that some of you found this video useful. At the end of the day, no matter what you're afraid of when it comes to flying, whether it's having a panic attack, claustrophobia, such as myself, you know, the fear of being ill, of a plane crash, no matter what happens, it's going to be fine. Everything that you're feeling is irrational, okay? That is what anxiety is. It is just irrational feelings. You're perfectly capable of doing this. I know that for a long time I thought that I would never get on a plane again, and that really upset me because I love travelling, but I managed it. I know that you can manage it too. I will leave some links in the description below about fears of flying. They do also have courses, like Virgin Atlantic and stuff do courses for people that are afraid of like engine failure and that kind of thing. So I'll leave some information on that down below, and yeah, I hope that if any of you are planning on taking a flight soon, and that is what drove you to this video, that you managed to complete it, that you feel really good about yourself afterwards, because you should feel good. Fear of flying is nothing to be ashamed of, it's not to be laughed at. And yeah, I just want to wish you all good luck in conquering your fears, whatever they may be. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.